I'm about to say. Your stand-up to me, I was thinking about this driving home, getting ready, as much as we get ready, just, hey, you want the massage chair or the deck chair? And I was thinking to myself about your stand-up, because I love stand-up, and I love watching stand-up, and I love thinking about why this works. Why? Because I watch other stand-ups, and I'll be honest with you, there's some comics that I watch, and like Aziz Ansari, who everyone loves. And obviously he's hysterically funny, but when he's on stage, I don't know why they're laughing. I feel like a dad listening to rock and roll. And I'm wrong. And like when I watch Kathy Griffin, I go, nah, you're using a lot of fucking store credit, because that shit wasn't funny at all, and it got an applause break, imitating Ronnie from the Jersey Shore. Like there's comics when I watch them, I don't know why the audience is laughing. Like I don't get it.
Right.
But you're a guy, it's simplify. Don't sweat the small stuff. Your act, you can't even call it an act. You're a guy, you walk out there, it's so relaxed, it's so easy. You just talk to people, to the audience. You don't have like an act. And if you do, you camouflage it perfectly. And I remember I saw you. You're right. It was in Syracuse.
It was in Syracuse.
You son of a bitch. And I'm not a homo. Yet I say that. And you brought somebody up out of the audience with an easel. You had an easel and a sketch pad. Do you still do that?
No.
Well, you should. And you said, I want to draw a portrait. And the whole time he was drawing the portrait of the person, he had ink on his hands. And he'd say, if you could just move your head a little bit to the left. And he would touch their face, putting ink on their face.
Charcoal.
And then, charcoal. You would put charcoal and go, now, if your nose, would you mind if your nose, and you would say something about their nose and touch their nose, and then their head became covered in
their
fucking
face would
charcoal.
Be all black, yeah.
But here's the thing where I'm going to go, because I really fucking break down stand-up comedy.
You do.
I'm nuts about it. If anybody else did that with an easel, I would have went, that's the hackiest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. When you did it, you were smart enough to have a joke, a small one, but one that would elicit a response from the audience to cover why.
That's right.
Like if you touch someone's nose and everybody starts laughing, the person immediately is going to go, what's going on? Like, what's wrong with him touching my nose? But you would say, like, if you just move your head a little bit to the side, and I don't know what it was, but you would say something like, not too many people here realize you just recently moved your head to the side, lost 200 pounds. And they would laugh because you said 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And that covering this fucking poor person's face with charcoal. And I remember watching it going, this guy figured out how to make something simpler and how to do it longer.
Yeah.
And your whole act is just it's like a handbook to run a successful company.
That's right.
You keep everything so simple.
Well, I get what you mean about seeing some of these other acts and you think, what's funny about this? It's all attitude. It's all kind of like attitude, references.
How about the men and women serving overseas? Can we get a round of applause? They always get like 4 applause breaks before they even say a joke.
I just want to keep up with the times, I don't want to be like dated. Like I remember doing a college once, and the girl that drives me to the airport or ran the thing, did the night. She's driving me back. She picks me up in the morning to bring me to the airport. In the car, she goes, "Hey, I really enjoyed your act. I love old school. And I thought, oh, Jesus.
Do you think you're old school?
Not with like us, but with like the 22-year-olds, 20-year-olds. But I'm trying, not so much anymore though, because I've kind of changed. I don't do like set up punchline joke.
Yeah.
I do more like stories now.
There's only like 3-4 guys out there that if they have like a bit and an act, like stuff like that rhythm that I can stomach.
Yeah.
Like Attell, I can watch do bits forever. But he's a guy that like writes a bit.
You like Louis C.K.? You like Attell?
Adore it. But Louis more like stories.
Yeah.
Whereas Attell, it's a set thing. And he's the best at it. Or like Brian Regan writes bits. And I always just say, I hate bits. I don't like to know that the audience before me saw this. But with these guys, they're so goddamn good at it. It transcends they're so good at it. I need them to do that. We need them out there doing it. The Regans and the Attels. But you're a guy. I think that's really interesting that you said that you've tried, and I guess successfully because you're out there. I mean, you just got off a plane from Atlanta. You try to actually keep your act more story-filled and current.
Not so much story-filled, but I think more truthful with a little twist of exaggeration, you know. And like I'll talk about what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
You know, or I'll talk about like Gaddafi, the way I see it. You know, if he wants to disappear, Gaddafi, he should go to Aruba. You know, things like that. You know, it's a little bit of the weekend update.
Just like Jeffrey Ross.
Huh? Jeffrey, yeah.
They look just alike.
That whole...
It'd be amazing if Gaddafi came out in the Charlie Sheen roast.
How many different ways can they spell Gaddafi?
Because I used to do a lot of bits. My whole act was like, I wanted to get laid after the show, and I wanted to get drunk, and if anybody was holding, I wanted a part of that. So my whole act was wink, wink, like, what are we doing after this?
Do you remember when you used to wait out in the lobby after you'd done your act, just to, you know, meet the girls and
when you're the middle
praise? Yeah.
And then they swing from like the headliner's nuts, and they're like, "You were amazing." I mean, we drove an hour and a half just to see you. And then on the way out, they almost like feel obliged. And it'd be better if they said nothing. They go, "You were good too." And to them, they're going like, they don't have to say anything to you. They actually are giving you a super nice compliment.
Yeah. But I would never go to the restroom in the lobby after the show because I would never want to hear somebody say that guy sucked.
See, I would want to hear it. And
accidentally,
then I would want to see.
Oh, you would?
You're like a total non-confrontational guy.
I am very non-confrontational.
And you're one of the mellowest guys ever. And I said way earlier in the podcast that when I was on Saturday Night Live, you were not only one of the super nice guys, but you were one of the guys when I walked into your office, which was maybe 3 times total, but it was completely relaxing. You had a guitar. You would play the guitar once in a while.
Dana and I shared an office. Dana
wasn't there when I was there.
Oh,
so
really?
You had this big office to yourself. The guitar was left over. And you would play the guitar. I would tell you, like, this is crazy. This is terrible. And you would just talk to me, sort of. In hindsight, you were just, like, humoring me because you were working on your licks. But the fact that there was just music and the lights were out, you were very smart. You did not have the overhead fluorescent lights. The lights were off in your office, and you had a desk lamp.
Right.
Making it very mellow.
Make it cozy.
Michael McKeon was the other guy on my end of the offices that when I had a problem and I walked into his office, you guys were like human pot. You just totally brought me down to earth. And you never had any like...
you know why? We gave up.
You gave up. But he showed up giving up.
That's right.
Because he was only there that 1 year.
Was he there just a year?
Yeah. So when you were on SNL, you didn't have any times where like you just had a complete meltdown and went like, "Fuck this place, I'm out of here." Like, I can't believe this is happening.
Well, I was there for 9 seasons. And,
you've made that very clear.
And I, so what I'm saying is I had my fill. And I had this pilot offered to me.
Yeah, but I'm kind of trying to get you to explain your fill to us.
Explain my what?
You said you had your fill.
Oh, my fill. Well, yeah, I mean, the cast just got so large, and there was less and less, spots to get on. And I showed all my tricks.
The cash. I thought you said the cash got so large, and I started laughing.
The cast.
But like, do you remember a time where you like had a meltdown, like packed the bags?
I never had a meltdown.
Fuck it, I'm out.
I did that when I was a waiter once. I dropped the tray. I said, "I'm out of here."
That's awesome. I would pay money,
and I regret doing that to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
I would pay $100 to go to the Daily Grill and watch a waiter just drop a tray and say, "Fuck it, I'm out of here." And I would pay my check also, but I would put $100 on top of that just to see that guy do it. Yeah. Oh, so
I didn't actually say that. I pretended I dropped it by accident, and I just left.
Even when you quit,
and you know what? It was an old age home, and I scared the hell out of like all the old people. When I dropped it, they went.
You were a waiter at an old folks home.
It was a high rise old age home, but for wealthy.
In what town?
In Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Now, at what point in serving food to the
I started as a dishwasher, worked my way up to a waiter.
Here's your meatloaf, Mrs. McGillicuddy. Enjoy it. What could possibly happen serving soft sandwiches to old people that you went, "I'm fucking out of here. These people are nuts." People are throwing bags of piss at you and like.
I don't remember what it was. It was waiting in line.
This is like the fucking This is the Lost podcast. You're the biggest cock tease I've ever met in my life.
No, I'm telling you.
You're like, let me tell you, 9 years on Saturday Night Live. Well, fucking tell us about it.
It was just, you'd have to wait in line with these big trays, and then they didn't have certain foods that the people ordered, and they have they do it like kids. They have to mark what they want, circle the food item. Yeah, and it was just our supervisor was a jerk, and I just couldn't take it anymore.
How do you get yelled at waitering at an old folks home? Like, what could you do wrong where somebody could give you the wrath?
Not bringing the right food, being late, not getting time off that you need.
And you were late a lot because you smoked.
No, I was always on time. It's like you want more, but I was making $1.65 an hour, or $2 an hour, something like that. Minimum
but back,
wage.
in the 40s and 50s, that was a lot of money.
Well, this is in the 30s. This is the 30s.
Even more. So, Tom Davis, Al Franken's writing partner. I'll do the heavy lifting if you just want to sit.
What are you talking about? I'm giving you everything I got.
Chris was great. Saw him in an elevator once. What else?
Do you want me to make stuff? I'll make stuff up.
Yes.
All right, I'll make stuff up. Go ahead, ask me a question. I'll give you a nice elaborate story.
So, Tom Davis was Al Franken's writing partner. It was Franken and Davis. You know this. I'm telling it to the listeners. And he was a guy that you could tell was it was a little too heavy in the boat, and Al was rowing his balls off for many, many years, and he could have tossed Tom overboard long ago, and he didn't. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, you remember when they first started back in the the original cast in the 70s, 75 to 80, they were really a good comedy team.
Yeah,
Franken and Davis.
But would you agree that in the 90s it just
I think they both went their own ways. Franken went more political.
Right.
Tom Davis was more of the surreal sketch writer. The tobacco
remember
spitting.
Tom Davis pitching to Charles Barkley? This is my first pitch ever. My first day on the job, and Tom Davis goes, KFC has these snacker boxes, like 12 snackers. It'd be funny if you were, it's Charles Barkley and you're, like in blackface and you're like tap dancing for chicken. And, it'd be like a real like a minstrel show, like totally over the top. And you'd be like, I like chicken. Chicken's good for you. And the whole room, like icicles formed on the walls. Like, what the fuck is he doing? And we're all waiting for him to go, I'm just fucking with you. And pull out of the nosedive. But he didn't. And he goes, or they also have family meals where you get two sides. So you could do, and then Charles Barkley goes, is this motherfucker serious? And but he was like the second guy to pitch. You don't remember that? No. You don't remember a goddamn thing.
See, no, Jay, let me tell you something. You're one of these guys who remembers everything because you live in the past.
I guarantee you.
I live in the moment. I live in the present. I have the power of now. You got to read it. I live right now. I forget stuff when I do it. I let it go because it's behind me.
Listen.
I could barely remember what my first wife's name.
The listeners, if they were on Saturday Night Live for 2 years or 9 years, they wouldn't forget. These are monumental things. But I think maybe that's the key to your success and being so low key is that even in a high stakes environment like Saturday Night Live, you're like, yeah, fuck it. I don't remember. I don't give a shit.
I'm just trying to keep the heart rate even.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it slow. I'm trying not to get stressed out. But I remember stuff. It's just so much happened so quickly. It's hard to remember. I think if I was watching the show, I'd probably remember more.
So when you come back, we'll put on some sketches. We'll get a best of, and you'll go, I remember this. I remember Joe Dixo screaming, 5 seconds. All the weird stuff that happened.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
Tom
that.
Davis.
Yeah, Tom Davis
was really not contributing for a while, and we were all at the writers' table, and then Tom Davis came out in a parka, a suitcase, a backpack, and his guitar, and he had on winter gloves. It was like a snowstorm.
He's going to a Grateful Dead concert or something.
And he's walking out, and he walks. His office was on the other side of the rewrite table, the writer's table. So he had to walk past us to get to the elevators. He wasn't on your side of the H. He was on the other side of the H. And he walks past everybody, just, scarf. And Jim Downey goes, Tom, hey, Tom. And Tom just turns around like he's burdened with luggage.
Yeah.
And Downey goes, well, where are you going? And he just looks at him. Tom Davis just looks at Downey and goes, bathroom. And turned around and walked out and never fucking came back.
That was it?
That was it.
That was his last day?
Bathroom.
Wow.
I got to take a leak right now.
Wow.
I'm glad you came.
Is this the Tom Davis